traumatized, disrespected, degraded.
Right now at 11, suing the Moda Center, the ticket broker who says he was verbally attacked by a security guard because of his race. Also tonight, tall order for affordable housing. How a skyscraper meant to help solve a shortage is already hitting a snag. And later,
we run hard, we play hard, and it's a bit of a family reunion. We get to see all our friends every once a year.
As even with the heat, hood to coast runners tell us they can't help coming back. Good evening and welcome to Friday, everybody. We're sitting at 77 degrees in the Rose City after a hot and hazy summer day with much more where that came from. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko along with Chief Meteorologist Matt Safino. So Matt, what are you watching as we head into the weekend here?
You know, it's going to be a warm weekend and a hazy weekend too. It is 75 in Portland right now, and that is actually quite a bit cooler than it was at this time last night. We're running 5, 7 degrees, 9 degrees cooler compared to 11 o'clock last night. The reason is, of course, we had that cloud cover last night as those showers and thunderstorms were developing. It beginning to move in, and the clouds helped to trap the heat. So it's a little bit cooler tonight, a little bit more comfortable here in the Willamette Valley, a little bit warmer in parts of central and eastern Oregon there. Now, the other thing that's happening is the air quality. We're watching that quite carefully. For a couple of hours today, some of the sensors in Portland actually got into the unhealthy for sensitive group category, back down into the moderate air quality category. I think it's going to stay between good and moderate through the weekend as we're continuing to get smoke from southern Oregon drifting north over the valley. And we may be getting a contribution from that Camp Creek fire that got started last night in the Bull Run watershed there just to the east of Portland. So again, it is hazy and it's going to stay hot. Temperatures will climb into the 90s for the next couple of days. Let's see if we can get back to that graphic right there. Climb into the 90s for the next couple of days. Here we go. Hot and hazy, as I said, 90s. Thunderstorms are possible again, but only over and east of the Cascades. And they'll be much more widely scattered than they were last night. So photographers, sorry about that. We don't get another chance, at least not anytime soon. I've got some great pictures coming up a bit later. And then showers and cooler weather will set in next week, and that'll clear the air from the smoke, David. So more on all of this in a bit. Back to you.
Thank you, Matt. Let's tell you a little more of that fire that was sparked in Clackamas County that Matt mentioned there. It's in the Bull Run watershed, sparked by lightning. Right now, the fire is about 35 acres on U.S. Forest Service land. And while it's about 3 miles from a Water Bureau treatment facility, Portland officials want to reassure people that the water supply remains safe. Meanwhile, our region was hit with some 1,600 lightning strikes in the last 24 hours. One of them also sparked another blaze near the Lookout Fire in Lane County. Last update, the new fire was just a couple acres in size, but we certainly got a sound and light show all around the Portland area. Our Rose City Sky Camera, wow, capturing this view over downtown early this morning. New at 11, a Portland man is suing the companies that own the Moda Center and provide its security guards after he says a guard targeted him with racist comments. A warning tonight, the details here are offensive and many people may find them triggering. Catherine Cook talked to the ticket broker about his lawsuit and the message he hopes it sends.
Traumatized, disrespected, degraded. You can go on and on.
Byron Brown says those feelings have stayed with him since February 19th. On that night, Brown, who's a ticket broker, was standing outside the Moda Center. The Eagles were in concert, and Brown was doing what he's done here for 30 years. But something was different. I
asked a guy, did he need tickets or was he selling tickets? And the security guard barked at me in a very loud voice, "Hey, you can't do that here, get across the street."
Brown says he tried to tell the security guard that he was allowed to be there. He suggested the guard call his supervisor, which he did.
He gets off the radio and says, "You don't deserve to be here, get back to the cotton field." And yeah, I said, "What?" And he said it again.
A few minutes later, Brown says the supervisor showed up in person. He told her what happened, but says the supervisor told him. The security guard denied it. Brown insisted she ask him again.
By the third or fourth time, she says he admitted it. And she says, and since he did, I need to file a report.
Brown took video of the report. He also recorded the supervisor confirming the security guard's confession.
I'm going to go inside and talk to my manager.
Okay, and he did admit that he said that?
He did to me, yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes,
all right.
I will be there.
Okay, all right. Anyone selling tickets, any extras? She removed the guy almost immediately, never seen him again.
Brown says he never got an apology, just silence from a place that feels different now.
It used to feel almost like home. It's hurtful. It's hurtful.
Brown is suing Vulcan LLC, which owns the Moda Center, and Landmark Events Staffing Services, Inc., which provides security. He's claiming discrimination and negligence and seeking $750,000 in damages. KGW reached out to both companies for comment. So far, neither has responded.
Have I ever experienced racism? The answer is yes, but it's never been so outrageous, so disgusting, so vile, and right in your face.
Brown hired Kafori and McDougal. The law firm specializes in cases dealing with racial discrimination.
There's no one case that's going to change everything. But as more and more people like Mr. Brown call a lawyer, talk about the lawyer, talk about their legal rights, and then take a stance, the more likely it is to affect change, over time.
At the very least, Brown hopes his case serves as a reminder, he says, that racism is still a big problem.
Just because you didn't see it or didn't experience it, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Byron Brown says he's gone back to selling tickets outside the Moda Center, but has cut down his hours since the incident. Again, he says his main goal here is to expose racist behavior and send a message that it won't be tolerated. David.
Thank you, Catherine. Appreciate your reporting tonight. Let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now. A group of Republican state senators are reportedly suing Oregon's Secretary of State, challenging her decision to stop them and others from running for re-election. That is according to OPB and Willamette Week. This comes less than a month after LaVon Griffin-Valade said she intended to enforce Measure 110. That measure bars lawmakers with 10 or more unexcused absences in a session from running again. Now, GOP senators say the language in the voter-approved measure was ambiguous. Griffin-Valade says the intention behind it was clear. One of Oregon's top House Democrats is set to face a recall vote. The Secretary of State says enough signatures have been collected to force an October 3rd recall election for State Rep Paul Holvey of Eugene. The United Food and Commercial Workers Union targeted Holvey, a former union rep, after the House Labor Committee, which he chairs, tabled a bill that would have allowed cannabis workers to unionize. Holvey was first elected in 2004. Oregon's last successful recall was in 1988. Some major changes are coming to TriMet bus routes. Starting on Sunday, Route 54 between Beaverton and Hillsdale Highway will become a frequent service line with arrivals every 15 minutes. A number of other lines will gain more frequent service with some route adjustments there. However, all of the 60 number lines serving Markham Hill will be discontinued because of low ridership. You can track TriMet.org for all of those route changes. And a developer who wants to build a skyscraper with more than 700 affordable housing units on the edge of downtown Portland is now running into a roadblock. The city says code in the neighborhood near the west end of the Burnside Bridge caps building heights at 75 feet, far shorter than the 30-story tower that is being proposed. The developer still hopes to meet with City Council to find a way forward. Well, speaking of housing, we're following up this evening on a Multnomah County program aimed at getting people off the streets that is now coming to an end, which means some families could end up homeless again. The program is called Move in Multnomah. The county launched it last year using taxpayer money to pay landlords to house people who are homeless by covering most of a year's rent. Now, overall, it helped more than 200 households, though homeless providers like Brandy Tuck, who work with many of those families, say she's disappointed at what Tuck calls the program's shortcomings.
Well, so the reality was that the rent guarantee was great. We were able to offer 12 months of rent assistance to families. That's super. The challenge was that we got a lot of rent assistance, but we didn't get any resources for case managers. There was no staffing dollars attached. I wish that the county had come to the providers and had dialogue with us about what we needed and how we could have made this program successful.
Well, the county just gave the families housed through that program an additional 3 months of rent support, which will run out in the fall. A county spokesperson telling us they'll be working with homeless providers to try to offer more long-term assistance. We have some sad news to share with you tonight. A longtime Portland journalist and television news icon, Mike Donahue, has died. Donahue was an anchor and reporter at KOIN TV for more than 4 decades. He retired in 2012, but stayed active in the community, often posting about his love for family and, quite fittingly in this city, roses. Tonight, KOIN shared that Donahue died of pancreatic cancer and was with his family to the end. Mike Donahue was 77 years old.